Welcome back to another transformative episode of Journey to Success. I'm Emily Carter, your host, and today we're diving into a topic that's foundational to thriving in every aspect of life: strengthening mental health. Joining us is an extraordinary guest, Dr. Rachel Evans, a clinical psychologist, best-selling author, and wellness advocate who's empowered thousands to nurture their minds and live with greater resilience. Rachel, it's an absolute honor to have you with us today.
Thank you, Emily. I'm genuinely thrilled to be here and explore a subject that's not just about coping but about flourishing with clarity, purpose, and joy.
I'm so excited to hear your wisdom. Mental health touches everything we do, yet it's often overlooked. Rachel, let's start with the big picture. Why is strengthening mental health so vital for success and well-being, and how does it shape our lives?
That's a brilliant question, Emily, and it really captures why I'm so passionate about this work. Mental health is the bedrock of everything: your relationships, your productivity, your ability to chase dreams, and even your capacity to savor life's small moments. When your mind is strong, you're better equipped to handle stress, think clearly, and stay connected to what matters. Neglecting it, though, can lead to burnout, anxiety, or feeling like you're just going through the motions. Strengthening mental health isn't about avoiding pain. It's about building resilience to navigate life's highs and lows with grace. I think of someone like Oprah Winfrey, who's been open about her mental health journey. Growing up with trauma and facing relentless pressure in her career, Oprah leaned on therapy, journaling, and gratitude to stay grounded. She said, "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change their future by merely changing their attitude." That mindset fueled her empire and her ability to inspire millions. Early in my own path, I was a therapist in Boston, juggling a demanding caseload and personal stress after a family loss. I felt frayed, like I was failing my clients and myself. But when I started prioritizing my mental health, through mindfulness, exercise, and support, my clarity returned, my practice grew, and I found purpose in writing and speaking. Mental health isn't just self-care. It's the engine of a life well lived, empowering you to show up fully for yourself and others.
That's such a powerful way to frame it, Rachel. Mental health as the engine of life. Oprah's journey is so inspiring. You mentioned your own challenges as a therapist. Can you walk us through how someone can start strengthening their mental health, especially if they're feeling overwhelmed or unsure where to begin?
Absolutely, Emily. The first step is to normalize mental health care. Just as you'd see a doctor for a broken leg, tending to your mind is a sign of strength, not weakness. Start small with practices that ground you, like mindfulness or gratitude. I draw inspiration from the Dalai Lama, whose daily meditation practice fosters peace amid global responsibilities. He said, "A disciplined mind leads to happiness." Mindfulness, focusing on your breath for even 2 minutes, can calm your nervous system and build resilience over time. When I was overwhelmed, I felt like I didn't have time for extras like meditation. But I started with 5 minutes of deep breathing each morning, noticing my thoughts without judgment. It was like clearing fog from a window. I could see my priorities better, and my sessions with clients deepened. I coached a client named Sarah, a marketing manager who felt swamped by deadlines and anxiety. She thought mindfulness was woo-woo, but tried 3-minute breathing breaks between meetings, inspired by the Dalai Lama's simplicity. Within weeks, Sarah reported sharper focus and less panic, leading her team to a record campaign. Small, consistent acts rewire your brain for calm and clarity. Another step is to cultivate gratitude. Research shows gratitude boosts serotonin, lifting mood naturally. I learned this from Maya Angelou, who journaled daily to find joy despite life's hardships, saying, "Let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel to say your nightly prayer." I began writing 3 things I was thankful for each night. Simple stuff like a good coffee or a client's breakthrough. It shifted my lens from stress to possibility. I worked with a client named Michael, a teacher who felt defeated by classroom chaos. He started a gratitude log, noting moments like a student's progress. It transformed his outlook. He became a mentor, earning a district award. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, it lights a path through them.
I love those starting points, Rachel. Normalizing care and practicing gratitude. The Dalai Lama and Angelou make it so tangible. But what about when mental health struggles feel intense? like during grief or burnout. How do you strengthen your mind in those moments?
Oh, Emily, those are the moments when mental health work becomes a lifeline, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed. Acknowledging that is a first step. In tough times, lean on professional support when needed. Therapy or counseling can provide tools tailored to you. I draw from Prince Harry, who's been vocal about seeking therapy to process grief and public pressure. He said, "I've learned that vulnerability is not weakness but strength." Therapy helped him rebuild, inspiring millions to prioritize mental health. When I lost my brother, grief hit like a tidal wave. I couldn't focus and my confidence waned. I sought a therapist, who guided me to process emotions through journaling and small rituals, like lighting a candle for him. It didn't fix the pain, but it gave me space to heal while staying engaged with my work. I coached a client named Jessica, a nurse burned out from pandemic shifts, feeling like she was failing her patients. Therapy wasn't in her budget, so we explored free support groups, inspired by Harry's openness. Jessica joined a peer group, sharing her stress, which restored her compassion. She later led a wellness program for her hospital. Support, professional or communal, is a bridge back to strength. Another tool is self-compassion. Treat yourself with the kindness you'd offer a friend. Kristen Neff, a self-compassion researcher, teaches that acknowledging pain without judgment builds resilience. During my grief, I'd remind myself, "It's okay to hurt. I'm doing my best." It eased the pressure to be strong. Jessica practiced this, pausing to say, "I'm enough," during tough shifts. It reduced her burnout, letting her care for patients with renewed energy. In intense times, support and self-compassion anchor you, helping you rebuild one gentle step at a time.
That's so profound. Rachel, support and self-compassion as anchors. Harry and Jessica's stories make it feel so accessible. You've mentioned icons like Oprah and the Dalai Lama. Are there other famous figures whose mental health practices inspire you?
Oh, absolutely, Emily. The world is full of people who've prioritized mental health to shine brighter. Take Serena Williams, who's faced racism, health scares, and intense scrutiny yet thrives by embracing therapy and meditation. After postpartum challenges, she said, "I'm not perfect, but I'm working on being the best version of myself." That openness fueled her 23 Grand Slams and business ventures. I leaned on Serena's example when I doubted my speaking career. Using yoga to steady my nerves, my first TEDx talk went viral. I coached a client named Ethan, a startup founder whose stress tanked his pitches. Serena's meditation inspired Ethan to try breathwork, landing him a $1 million deal. Another is Nelson Mandela, who preserved his mental health during 27 years in prison through reflection and connection. Mandela wrote letters and visualized freedom, saying, "I found that one can bear the unbearable if one can keep one's spirit strong." His resilience shaped my approach to stress. I journal to process tough days, keeping my mind clear. I worked with a client named Olivia, a lawyer who felt crushed by cases. Mandela's reflection habit led her to journal nightly, which sparked her pro bono work, giving her purpose. Then there's Lady Gaga, who shared her struggles with PTSD and anxiety, using therapy and music to heal. She said, "Mental health is health." Gaga's advocacy inspired me to normalize therapy in my practice. I coached a client named David, a veteran with depression, who resisted help. Gaga's honesty pushed him to try counseling. He now runs a support group. These figures show mental health care isn't a luxury. It's a cornerstone of strength and impact.
Those stories are so uplifting, Rachel. Serena, Mandela, Gaga, they all show mental health as a source of power. What about common pitfalls? Are there mistakes people make when trying to strengthen their mental health?
Great question, Emily, because pitfalls can stall progress. One big mistake is isolating yourself. People often hide struggles, thinking they're a burden, but connection heals. I learned this from Brené Brown, whose vulnerability research shows sharing builds resilience. She said, "Connection is why we're here." Early on, I bottled up my stress, fearing judgment, until I confided in a colleague. It lifted a weight. I coached a client named Rachel, a writer who withdrew during anxiety spikes. Brown's work inspired Rachel to join a support group, sparking her best-selling memoir. Avoid isolation by reaching out, even for a coffee chat. Another trap is overloading on quick fixes. Apps or hacks can help, but they're not substitutes for deeper work like therapy or rest. Deepak Chopra, a wellness pioneer, balances meditation with professional care, saying, "Healing is a journey. I once relied on meditation apps alone, ignoring my grief and crashed. Now I pair mindfulness with therapy." Rachel tried every wellness trend, feeling worse, until she saw a counselor, grounding her progress. Depth over fat sustains mental health. Finally, ignoring physical health undermines the mind. Exercise, sleep, and diet are mental health pillars. Michael Phelps, who battled depression, credits swimming and sleep for recovery, saying, "Your body is your mind's home. I skipped workouts during stress, worsening my mood until I added daily walks. I coached a client named Chris, a chef whose late nights fueled anxiety. Phelps' routine inspired Chris to sleep earlier and jog, boosting his creativity and restaurant success." Avoiding these traps, isolation, quick fixes, neglecting the body, sets you up for lasting mental strength.
That's such a wake-up call, Rachel. Brown's connection, Chopra's depth, Phelps' physical care, they reframe mental health so clearly. How do we sustain mental health long-term, especially when life gets chaotic or stress piles up?
Sustaining mental health is like tending a garden. It thrives with steady care, even through storms. One habit is daily micro-practices. Small acts like 5 minutes of gratitude or a quick stretch compound over time. I learned this from Tony Robbins, who uses morning rituals, breathing visualization to stay resilient. I practice 3 gratitude notes daily, keeping me centered through deadlines. I coached a client named Anna, a single mom whose job stress spiked anxiety. Robbins' rituals inspired her to try 2-minute meditations, which calmed her and deepened her kids' bond. She now leads parenting workshops. Micro-practices fit any schedule, building strength quietly. Another key is regular check-ins. Pause weekly to assess your mental state. Am I rested? Connected? Overwhelmed? Adjust accordingly. Bill Gates uses Think Weeks to reflect, balancing his mind amid global projects. I check in Sundays, noting if I'm drained, then tweak, like adding a nap or friend call. Anna adopted this, spotting stress early and scheduling walks, which boosted her energy. Check-ins prevent burnout before it festers. Also, build a support ecosystem. Friends, family, or professionals create a safety net. Michelle Obama leans on her kitchen table of confidence, saying, "Good relationships are the foundation of everything. I have a mentor and book club that lift me." I coached a client named Mark, a salesman whose isolation fed depression. Obama's circle inspired him to join a hiking group, sparking joy and a promotion. Connection sustains you. Finally, align with purpose. A sense of meaning buffers stress. Viktor Frankl found purpose in prison, helping others, which preserved his mind. My purpose, empowering growth, grounds me through chaos. I coached a client named Lauren, a doctor who felt empty despite success. Aligning with her purpose, patient care, she added volunteer work, revitalizing her spirit. These habits, micro-practices, check-ins, support, purpose, build a mental health foundation that endures life's turbulence.
Those are such vibrant tools, Rachel. Robbins' rituals, Gates' check-ins, Frankl's purpose. It's a roadmap for resilience. As we close, what's one final piece of advice for listeners ready to strengthen their mental health today?
My biggest advice is to choose one kind act for your mind now. Mental health grows through small, intentional steps, not grand gestures. Think of Malala Yousafzai, who nurtured her mind through learning despite threats, saying, "One child, one teacher, one book can change the world." For me, it was that first breathing session that sparked my renewal. One last story. I coached a widower named Brian, a carpenter whose grief dimmed his spirit. He felt mental health care was out of reach. We looked at Fred Rogers, who used quiet reflection to stay kind, saying, "Anything that's human is mentionable, and anything mentionable is manageable." Brian started a nightly gratitude note, his son's laugh a finished project. It led to therapy, then mentoring kids, restoring his joy. If Brian can nurture his mind, so can you. Pick one act today, breathe deeply, write a kind thought, call a friend. That step lights the way to a stronger, brighter you.
What a beautiful way to close, Rachel. Brian's story, alongside legends like Malala and Rogers, shows mental health is for everyone. Thank you for sharing such profound wisdom and practical steps. I know our listeners are inspired to care for their minds with love.
Thank you, Emily, and to all the listeners. I hope you feel empowered to nurture your mental health and live with radiant strength.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Journey to Success. If this conversation touched your heart, and I'm certain it did, please hit that subscribe button to catch every uplifting episode. Share this with someone needing a mental health boost, and join us next time for more insights to fuel your journey. Until then, keep tending to your mind with compassion.